I took a look at the Stacks ecosystem last week, and I do have a bigger video coming out. I'll give you a tour of different apps on Stacks, looking at some of the top tokens. It's a very immature ecosystem for the market cap, just to forewarn you. And when I looked at that, it made me rethink my thesis on these Bitcoin adjacent investments, whether it be Thorchain, whether it be Stacks, or whether it be Bitcoin native assets. Maybe I've missed the mark with those things. And that's what I'm going to talk about today on Dead Cat Crypto. Here's Stacks. Stacked aimed to be a Bitcoin economy, an L2 that ran smart contracts and applications and DeFi and all that for Bitcoin, and their token, the STX token, you could actually stake it and earn Bitcoin in return, which I think is a fantastic system. But the token, which is an indication of network adoption, success, and failure, has had a hard time keeping up with Bitcoin. If anything, it's just been volatile for no reason. I bought it maybe like a year and a half ago. I think I paid like 60 cents. And of course, when that thing goes up to like $3, I'm like, oh, I'm a genius. I got Stacks at 60 cents. It's almost back down to what I paid. So I looked around, I looked at Runes, and then of course, Thorchain, good God, the implosion happening over there. And I'm like, man, maybe I was wrong to spread out some of my capital into all these different Bitcoin-like investments. And I should have just bought Bitcoin the whole time. Here's Thorchain, right? Doesn't look too bad. That's because this is only the last 24 hours. Thorchain was trading, let's look at it, as high as $7 in December. That's not even 2 months ago. It absolutely fell off a cliff. But like I said, I did explore Stacks a little bit, and they've got the beginnings of what you need in any ecosystem, and it seems easy enough to get over there, right? It seems easy enough to take Bitcoin, bridge it over, start playing around, right? There's wrap Bitcoins all over the place. Why not use the one on Stacks, right? They're almost custom fit for Bitcoin users. But it doesn't look like Bitcoin users really want to dabble in Stacks and Thorchain and all the other side chains, L2s, all the other stuff, the native assets, the BRC20s, and the runes, like the ordinals, they're getting smoked. So, like I said, originally, I thought this was a good idea. And now I'm thinking it's really not. So I mentioned Thorchain, and that's one that I did have an interest in. So let's talk about that. Stacks, I have nothing against Stacks. It just looks pretty nascent for this point of a bull cycle, and maybe that's why the token's struggling so much. But if you're not really up to speed, Thorchain was this massive cross-chain swapping protocol that did not use wrapped assets or bridged assets, and it works great. I use it. You take Bitcoin, you could swap it directly into ETH without touching a bridged or wrapped asset and without being on a centralized exchange. To me, this is essential Web3 infrastructure, decentralized. But they decided to add this lending protocol on top, which had like no fees and all that. And like you could hold your position open for as long as you want. Turns out that was a bad idea. Who would have thought this zero fee, zero APR, unlimited loans were a bad idea? Now, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but good Lord, they created like almost $200 million in bad debt on top of Thorchain when the swapping function worked beautifully. And they collected a lot of fees. They collected like 30 million in fees last year off of the swaps. So they got a little too ambitious, went with leverage. This lending protocol caused a bunch of debt. Validators froze the collateral. People couldn't withdraw. And there's been a back and forth governance. How do we fix this? How do we make the people whole? Maybe I looked at this all wrong, right? Maybe these are not Bitcoin adjacent investments, right? And Rune, because it was kind of tied to the Bitcoin liquidity that it was hosting, I bought a bunch of Rune the same time I bought Stacks. I thought spreading my money around to these different investments was a good way to catch narratives related to Bitcoin. Well, there's only one narrative with Bitcoin, and that's institutional and government adoption. So I should have just put all of that money into Bitcoin and just sat there and done nothing with it. I haven't sold my Bitcoin yet. Yes, I have Coinbase stock. Yes, I have some ETFs in my retirement account, but that's separate, right? That's like TradFi. I got to have some exposure over there. Oh, I have mining stocks as well. But in Web3, it turned out to be nonsense for me to buy and hold runes, buy and hold Thorchain token rune, buy and hold ordinals, buy and hold stacks. Man, when something is hot and it's shooting up and you're holding it, you got to sell some. That's all I'm saying. So I should have sold that stuff when it was hot, brought it over into Bitcoin, and just added my sats to my stack. That's not what I did. So we'll see. We'll see. Thank you for listening to this rant about how I was wrong about my Bitcoin investments.